Turning to the issue of childcare in the United States, where it's becoming unaffordable for more and more families across the country. There's been a wave of childcare centres closing after pandemic-era government funding ended last September. According to a survey by caregiver matching platform CARE, the average US family spends around 24% of their household budget on childcare. 54% of parents say they expect to pay over $600 a month on childcare, adding up to more than $7,000 a year. And in New York City, the growth of a preschool program could be stunted. The city's mayor plans to cut the budget for classes for 3-year-olds. As well, Denslow reports that prospect is causing many sleepless nights for parents.
Affordable childcare for many can often feel out of reach.
Be careful, be careful.
Parents in New York City can pay north of $20,000 per year on childcare. Talia Jerez says the city's free kindergarten program provided a leg up in her daughter's early development.
They give you the utensils in order to like supplement your kids' lifestyle. It gives you, they can learn ABCs before they're 5 years old.
Without the free program for 3-year-olds, known as 3K, Teresita Goyeneche would have faced a choice: pay for childcare for her daughter or pursue a PhD.
3K was a big decision-making thing that happened to us. If we have the seat at school, we can go. Otherwise, it would have been impossible.
Back in 2014, the newly elected mayor of New York, Bill de Blasio, pledged to provide free kindergarten to every 4-year-old in the city. In 2017, he launched a plan to expand that to 3-year-olds. But that pledge is in jeopardy under de Blasio's successor, Eric Adams. The Adams administration argues that not all of the roughly 55,000 spots currently on offer for 3K are being used. And with federal pandemic funding drying up, the mayor says that cutbacks are needed. About $170 million could be chalked off the city's 3K program if the mayor's budget is approved.
Running a city of any size is never easy. And balancing the many competing needs of a city like New York requires strong and creative management.
The Citizens Committee for Children of New York calculates that the proposed budget cut could eliminate up to 15,000 3K seats. Some say that's bad business. A lack of universal childcare is estimated to have cost the city around $23 billion in economic output in 2022 alone.
In areas of the city where the median income is lowest, people can be spending up to 63% of their income on childcare. So when you think of I need to pay for rent, I have to pay for childcare, I'm paying for transportation to commute to my work, food, it really makes it impossible, right, to sustain a household here.
Affordable childcare is measured by the government as no more than 7% of annual household income. Enriched HQ is a marketplace for children's virtual activities. Its founder says childcare costs often force parents into difficult decisions.
The stark reality is that parents cannot work. They simply cannot work if they don't have the infrastructure in place for their children.
After President Biden's $200 billion plan for universal pre-K nationwide failed to win the support of Congress, many parents here hope city officials won't let them down. William Denslow, CGTN, New York.
All right, let's take a closer look at how childcare costs are affecting the average family. Joining me now to discuss is Wen-Jui Han, a professor at the Silver School of Social Work at New York University and the editor-in-chief of the International Journal of Social Welfare. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Poppie.
Now, could you just tell us, given that childcare is so very expensive, what have been local reactions to the decision to cut budgets?
I think in the locally, parents find it's very difficult to accept the proposed budget cuts only because the 3K program has already suffered $400 million cut when the current mayor took office. And the new proposed budget cut is asking for another $280 million this year and another $399 million in 2025. So from parents' perspective, this is all about affordability. And recent inflation has made it exacerbates the issues in terms of affordability, is how much they can really afford to work at the same time having affordable childcare. As the segment just mentions here is there's so many expenses parents has to pay for it. So having a budget cut, what that means to the parents is how we allocate money sends a very strong message to the people about how we prioritize our political will. So for parents, what they hear loud and clear is childcare is something that can be sacrificed. So a huge blow to millions of parents who have a thought and hoped New York City is a city that with the political will to do the right thing, taking care of the family and investing in our children. So the reaction has very strong in terms of how we can roll back a very important investment in our future.
Now, speaking about the investment in the future, the children themselves, beyond the financial challenges for parents, how will these cuts directly impact children and their future preparedness?
So there's two consequences I think we have to talk about. One is like you say in terms of affecting our children. I think the long-established scholarship has really allowed us to understand, and this has been very well known, is when children during the early days, if they do receive a quality child care, they tend to have much better chances to have educational, economic prospects later in their life. So when we're talking about really investing in affordable quality childcare, we are talking about investing in our future. And this is the smartest decision we can make because this is about 100% return in our investment for the next 20 years. And so this is so not only for children in terms of we are looking at if they don't have a quality childcare, that's going to affecting their future prospects. We are also talking about the current parents. Our parents in today's society is so physically exhausted, emotionally drained. Not only they have to work, but they also have to figure out where to find affordable but also quality childcare. And so this is something a hurt for both parents and children in this case.
Now, of course, we've been talking about budget cuts in New York specifically. What's the national picture looking like?
So because the federal stimulus fund is expired for cities and states across the United States, so it does pose a great crisis in terms of how we can sustain and keep our promises to investing in affordable quality childcare. But on average, in general speaking, states and cities with much progressive ideas still really pledge to keep and sustain, maintain affordable quality childcare for families. So we still can see that promise, but it does become much more difficult. And we do need much more efforts and political will from both Congress, but also from employers to really help our parents to deal with these childcare issues.
Now, what's your sense about if childcare continues to be so expensive, how this could actually impact on family planning itself?
So we're already seeing a lot of parents already say to us, they cannot go to work. And this is particularly true for women. So we are actually sacrificing women because they are much more likely to take childcare responsibility. Our labor force really losing the productivity of women in this case, but fathers too. So back in 2023, because COVID-19, it is already 15% mothers who are supposed to be in labor force. They are not. They are stay at home taking care of their children. Now the figure in 2023 is 24. A quarter mothers stay at home. For fathers too, actually, we observed the same increasing trend. Back in 1989, there's about 11 fathers stayed at home. Now, last year, we see 18 fathers actually choosing to stay at home. So if we keep having this expensive childcare, what we are going to see is a very we compromise our labor force productivity. We put burdens on our women, in particular in this case. So we are also going to roll back the gender equity we're being so very much working on over the past several decades. And it can be damaged over a year or overnight, even in this case.